Oh, there, welcome back. This is gonna be um quite a long one, maybe. But right now we have an active, few, uh, probably active few days, maybe a week of constant severe weather activity, and it started. It's been ongoing for past 2 days now. I made there's been some issues with audio, and hopefully you can hear this. If this uploads, then yes, it's actually working today. But anyways, we have enhanced risk today across portions of western Texas, and this is mostly going to be a hail day, but there is a chance for a few tornadoes as well as some damaging winds. A pretty broad 5% area, covering over 135,000 square kilometers and square miles. I mean, and tomorrow across portions of southwestern Kansas, going into central Oklahoma and southeastern Kansas, going into central Oklahoma and southwestern Missouri. We also have it's mostly gonna be a tornado threat, but also damaging winds and large hail can't be also ruled out. But tomorrow, I think, is gonna be potentially a pretty big day across portions of Oklahoma, going into southern Kansas. Day 3 we have another slight risk across Indiana, going into basically the Ohio Valley. And on day 4, we have yet another 30% chance across Oklahoma, going to North Texas. Day 5, we have a 15% going all the way east into Illinois, from extreme southern Illinois going into northeastern Texas. Predictability is a bit too low on the 6, 7, and 8. So, let's just begin off looking at the overall pattern right now, and take a look at 500 millibars real quick. And seeing that we have a positively tilted trough located, digging into the four corners. We have another trough. This is what's across over the Great Lakes. That's what's been really with that basically same trough that produced that Andover tornado and a few more just 2 days ago now. Now gonna eject off to the north and east. Troughing just located off the east coast, and bit of ridging over portions of the northeast and as well as central plains right now. But we do see a time of a few short waves evident, and we're going to see a time as this trough continues to get closer to the main risk area today. I think a few supercells are expected, and these short waves are going to help initiate some storms today. So anyways, let's take a look at 850 millibars, and you can see a time not pretty weak southeasterly low level jet though, although still expecting decent amount of moisture. When we take a look at the station plot, we'll probably see I don't know what's been going on with mesoanalysis, but can't really look at 700 millibars right now. But we see a few supersize located over Kansas and northeastern Oklahoma, and we do see a 1,002 millibar surface flow over Wisconsin. That's associated, and just take a closer look. Take a look at. So we see a pretty backed wind profile. See pretty backed surface winds out of the southeast. Moisture, it's not incredible. 80 over 56, 79 over 56, 83 over 54, 81 over 49, 83 over 58, 79 over 61. For the south, it looks a little bit better. 81 over 61, 83 over 62. But this is going to be streaming in. See see 84 over 70, 70 dew points. I think that's around the that is near the San Antonio area, or just near the San Marcos, Austin area. And we see decent 60s dew points. Those are going to continue to stream to the north, and I think moisture is not going to be too much of an issue today. Take a look at current satellite. We can see a time of some cloud cover over, some pretty evident of some significant scale lift, probably warmer advection. And take a look at SCU map. We're seeing pretty sizable amount of as we see steep mid-level lapse rates. Actually, we can take a look at mid-level lapse rates, well over 8.5 degrees Celsius per kilometer. So tons of instability aloft, despite the dew points not being particularly too good. And the freezing heights can't really, probably around 700, 600 millibars, maybe, probably around there, but quite steep lapse rates a lot, given that robust EML in place. Take a look at some photographs real quick. See pretty straight photographs, although a time of some weak warmer advection. So, warmer advection promotes lifting, of course, single scale lift, and it's pretty weak. Don't think vorticity advection that strong as well. And if we take a look at the recent VWP, this is from KMAF, or from Odessa, where I think that's how you time it. Pretty straight photographs right there. Some really pretty weak warmer advections ongoing. Well, pretty backed surface wind profile. And this is from Lubbock. Showing basically the same story, weak warmer advection, but pretty backed surface wind profile. Surface winds are around, out of the southeast, at around 21 knots. Basically in a pretty tight pressure gradient, and we see that high in a time of so we get a time of a southerly surface flow, so we get strong, we get sufficient warmer advection to stream in. We get those pretty good surface moisture at the surface. So let's take a look at soundings actually from 12Z. Actually, we take a look at this one from 18Z. And see the time of that really robust EML. Near adiabatic lapse rates in the mid levels, and quite a good moist layer as well, going up to near 750 millibars. So moisture quality is definitely solid, and that's what's going to be probably affected. Pretty straight photographs, of course. Pretty straight photographs. So it's gonna support more of a hail risk throughout today. Maybe within a few supercells, and so this is quite a lot of instability aloft too. So I'm just gonna. So anyways, let's take a look at the NAM. What's gonna be shown the next. So as we see that trough eject dig into the four corners sometime tonight, and once that's gonna be arriving, pretty time it negatively tilted, 21Z. It's gonna be basically over the over the Oklahoma, Kansas area by then. And then we see another trough ejecting. So we see a ton of troughing, really pretty active pattern, and that trough is gonna position itself for Wednesday, and that trough is gonna be the main player for tomorrow. That's gonna be ejecting into the Ohio Valley, and that's where we get that risk. A lot weaker though as it shears out, it seems. And then that. And by 0Z, that trough is going to be there. Basically over the plains by then the exit region. So then we see yet probably our next trough. That's going to be a big one, big time trough. I think I'll probably cover it once we get more towards the end of the video, as we look over ensemble guidance. But for today, seems like we see a few short waves. We see one over the four corners, 500 millibars, and that's gonna be ejecting to the east. We see a few potential short waves that are gonna be in play, and see at 700 millibars tonight. We see a short wave. Okay, we see a few kinks in the contours right there. Those indicate those short waves and height falls from those rising air, and with that, of course you're gonna get seeing some supercells develop, some discrete convection. Take a look at moisture though. So moisture, this is at around 12Z. That's going to continue to vector to the north and east. See, time we have a dry line setting up in New Mexico. And by 0Z, there'll be probably storms active, but I think the main area, we'll take a few soundings. Take a few of them across western Texas. So this one is in, we'll also even take a sounding a bit further north. Anyways, this sounding is located basically where the tongue of near the edge of the 60s dew points. See quite a bit of lift, pretty large photographs right. Tiny bit of some veering with height, looping. Strong upper level winds though, that's going to support a hail threat as and seeing quite a lot of instability aloft. Steep lapse rates with that pretty strong EML. Cap is going to be broken by then, and take a look at this sounding pretty straight photographs actually. This is near the dry line, and quite a lot of subsidence aloft. Quite a lot. We'll see if we get some storms up there, but pretty parcel a tiny bit negatively buoyant at negatively buoyant in as we see a tiny bit of that inversion. Straight photographs, that's going to be more supportive of a hail threat, and tiny bit of the same. This one is near the dry line too. Quite a big photograph. I think that photograph is a tiny bit. See a tiny bit of contamination just above the surface, and that's why we probably see that large of a photograph. So also pretty saturated across the profile, so I know that's representative. Further north into the Texas Panhandle, pretty dry, 77/53, but given how high up, around a kilometer above sea level, I think think it's still gonna be supportive. And see a time with some subsidence aloft with the omega. Positive omega promotes sinking air. Negative represents rising air, but too much rising air when you see a saturated profile, you wouldn't really want to see as that sounding is most likely in the updraft. So see a time of a large photograph right there. Not too much veering in the lowest kilometer though. More turning in the 3 kilometers, and mainly a discriminating factor is in the lowest kilometer. While 0 to 3 kilometers is more discriminator between supercells, and I think there'll be some supercells, but tornadoes seems to be a bit isolated. So let's take a look at that low level jet. In fact, let's take a look at that. So throughout the day, weekends, diurnal cycle, and then overnight, of course, with the diurnal cycle, the low level jet strengthens, and then we'd see time of some surface cyclogenesis due to westerly winds over the Rockies, over the lee of the Rockies, and of course you get surface low development. Low level jet's gonna be pretty veered actually out of the southwest. It could be that could be a limiting factor for tomorrow, and that low level jet axis is gonna head off to the northwest, strengthen with the diurnal cycle, and then repeat that, and then once again Wednesday next day with pretty decent tornado potential, and again southwesterly low level jet I think, but this is a long range in AM, so we're gonna have to take a look at the deterministic on the GFS and the Euro to see what it shows. But anyways, take a look at some boundary orientation. We see pretty westerly, probably seeing a north-south dry line, and pretty very perpendicular to the dry line. So I think in supercellular mode is apparent for today, of course. Anyways, let's take a look at take a look beyond the next 3 days. Take a look, small look. We can't really get most of the real scale details, but let's take a look at the cams actually, because I didn't cover those. We'll see what they're showing, yeah, let's take a look at the her shows first, then we'll take a look at the other ensemble members. Throughout today, we'll take a look at the recent her. So we see a time of some supercells developing shortly in the next few hours, actually, in 2 to 3 around 20Z. Supercells will be active. Time of some more convective initiation over further north, but as well as some supercells developing further south into Mexico. Could be some more hailers, but quite a lot of supercells across western Texas. These supercells will be probably supportive of a hail threat. Those will probably evolve, weaken, become probably more of a linear mode overnight, and elevated nature go across. And that's going to be Oklahoma and Kansas's morning convection. And that's where we get that threat for tomorrow. We'll take a look at 12Z Hereford. Take a look at tomorrow. Basically, it's different story, tiny bit less widespread though. Further south into Oklahoma. And then take a look at tomorrow. Not too much really time though. Once that convection moves out, probably around 13, 18Z, and then probably around 20, 21Z. If we can get strong surfacing, I don't think it's really going to matter. But if cloud cover lingers, could be a time of an issue. See a few supercells develop for the south. It doesn't convect in Oklahoma at all. That's something to keep an eye on. And that turns into a linear segment. That's probably why they have a 30%. It's the time of that bow echo there. Okay, cool. Let's take a look at the remainder on here. We'll move this to the Southern Plains. An SSL. And shows the time of convective initiation, 21Z, a few supercells developing, turns into a linear complex just shortly after 0Z. Time of some convective initiation along the dry line, not too much, pretty isolated in nature. And also heading further north, it's at Oklahoma and Oklahoma Panhandle. And take a look at tomorrow. Supercells develop 21Z across southwestern Kansas. It's probably along the dry line. And some supercells develop even further north into northern Oklahoma, but nothing in central Oklahoma. That's what we've seen so far. Turns into a linear mode, MCS, and that's where we're going to be seeing some potentially widespread damaging winds. Take a look at the ARW. Few supercells developing shortly after 20Z. Few supercells as well along the dry across western Texas, and then as well seeing some decent support of some supercells over north Texas, I think due to drier conditions. I think maybe an isolated tornado still, just because of higher elevations, moisture quality of course won't be and then you don't need 60s dew points to for tornadoes across higher elevations in western Kansas or northwestern Texas to the Panhandle. Of course, that's the case. And then tomorrow, the ARW does convect along the dry line or in Oklahoma, and we can see a few supercells turning. One pretty much persisting for a few hours from 22Z going all the way into 3 or 4Z. And then that turns into a linear mode, of course. Take a look at FE3 now. The FE3 exploding with a lot of supercells. This is definitely not going to be the case. I doubt there's going to be this many supercells active. It's going to make time for some overcrowding either way. And I don't really trust FE3 for this one. I don't think it's handling that well. And then quite a ton of morning convection. Few elevated supercells nearby it. Convects pretty far north actually into central and doesn't convect really until overnight, where it shows a few. We'll take this to the Central Plains sector. See what the FE3 is showing. And quite a few supercells. Not entirely sure if I believe it or not. I don't think I do. Her showing supercells. Central Kansas. NSSL does not show it. And this is probably near the surface low. ARW does show it. FE3 does show it. Let's take a look at NAM 3 kilometer and see what it shows. A few supercells first developing around 20Z. That's been pretty consistent between all the cams. And not as many supercells, more isolated in nature, and then overnight convection and start basically all linear for tomorrow. Maybe a few supercells in Oklahoma going to Kansas, but quite an expansive QLCS developing. So that's basically all. We'll take a look at ensemble guidance for following the next.